For over 25 years, All Pro Rods has crafted a lightweight, affordable, American-made rod. Oh, look at that. Oh, my God. Lightweight and powerful with unsurpassed sensitivity. Feel what you've been missing with All Pro Rods.
Oh yeah, there he is. All Pro Rods, sensitive power.
All Pro Rods, sensitive power.
All Pro Rods, sensitive power. I'm Chad Hoover, and this week I'm in Middle Tennessee at Long Branch Lakes chasing big bass and eating some unbelievable sweet potato fries.
Get up and put on the coffee. You know the sunlight won't last. Making my way to the country. I'm gonna catch a big old bass.
Oh my God! That is a stud. Got him. Double hookup, baby. Oh, booyah. Oh yeah. Don't throw that hook. Going for a sleigh ride, baby. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! That's what's up. Oh, my gosh. Nice.
Kayak Bassin is brought to you by Wilderness Systems, makers of fully outfitted, state-of-the-art fishing kayaks. Lowrance, the preferred choice for kayak fishing success. All Pro Rods, feel what you've been missing with All Pro Rods. Bending Branches, handcrafted premium quality canoe, kayak, and stand-up paddles. Yak Attack, create the ultimate fishing machine with Yak Attack accessories. And Hook One, for all your kayak fishing gear needs, visit kayakfishinggear.com. This week on Kayak Bassin, Chad Hoover's at Long Branch Lakes in beautiful Spencer, Tennessee. Having caught 10-pound fish here on almost every previous visit, it's no surprise that Long Branch Lakes is one of Chad's favorite fishing destinations in the country. Chad is joined by his son Austin, fellow hook oneers Sean McClendon and Ryan Martin, and Jeremy McDowell, the principal broker at Long Branch Lakes. Having been involved with the construction of a number of the Long Branch Lakes, no one knows the area better than Jeremy.
Aside from being the host on the show, one of my principal responsibilities is gear management. And when Jeremy showed up this morning, I had to remind him that we're not filming a remake of the Huey Lewis in the News 1987 video, and so I had to switch his gear out for a little bit better eyewear, so he didn't, we couldn't, this wasn't going to work, so. Yes, it's true. I'm so happy to be stuck with you. He said he was wearing his cowboy boots fishing this morning, but he really is wearing his cowboy boots fishing this morning. Sitting in 20 feet of water right here.
He's swimming with it. Come on.
Boom. I'm out here fishing deep. That's a pretty good little gorilla there, little fat boy. Get him back in the water. I don't know what it is, other than the fact that it's about the same water temperature, and it's the fact that a lizard is a nest raider, and it's probably just something with a lot of appendages on it and a lot of movement. But bass will flat smash a lizard year round, but man, it's my favorite lure when the water's cold. and you're trying to stimulate that bite. I think it falls down there when it hits. It's just, even when it's sitting still, it undulates and it's got some action to it. So if you've got to buy a bite, you know, you obviously can't go wrong with a Cinco, but the Lizard is right there in that same, it's in that same conversation. It's a tough bite, go-to lure. Here we go. This is how awesome a bait the Lizard is. Let me get him back in the water and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So my line is down there, obviously wrapped around this tree limb. And I'm over here picking out a backlash and my line takes off. So this Lizard is basically sitting down there motionless and that bass smashes it.
So I just pulled this little bass out of this area right here. And one of the attributes to fishing in a kayak that I'm experiencing for the first time is I fished in an aluminum Triton boat for years, and with that Triton boat, I'm always banging on sticks and my boat's clanging and making lots of noise and creating lots of vibrations in the water. And this boat, I don't know if it's the way that it's made or what, but it's so much more stealthy. It's just, and you know, if you look at the water that we're on, you can't get through there in a small boat, or a big boat rather.
Stay tuned for lots more kayak bass fishing action as the guys work their way into a secluded pocket and find some big hungry bass. Kayak Bassin is brought to you in part by Yak Attack. Turn your kayak into the ultimate fishing machine with Yak Attack kayak fishing accessories. For kayak fishermen, by kayak fishermen. This week on Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin, Chad Hoover's at Long Branch Lakes in Spencer, Tennessee, with a few of the guys from the Hook One shop and Jeremy McDowell, the principal broker for Long Branch Lakes and a die-hard bass angler who knows the lakes as well as anyone.
For me, fishing is a love, it's a passion, it's an obsession, and I've enjoyed it since I was a child. My fondest memories were fishing in a cow pasture after school until the sun set. And this has been my first opportunity to fish in a kayak. And the lake that we're on today and that we've been fishing on, you know, I fished it for the last 6 or 7 years. I don't know how long. And I've seen water on this lake that you can't see from a small boat. You can't get in through there. The only way you can access these waters is through the kayaks that we've been fishing. And it's just been a ball. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure.
I can tell you Jeremy's not going to be able to do is he's not going to be able to help you with fashion advice, from the Huey Lewis sunglasses to the man sweater vest or fleece sleeveless jacket. But when it comes to real estate, when it comes to the thing that he's really good at, there's probably not anybody better in the game. You can see the twinkle in his eye where he gets a kick out of selling a property to somebody, not just for the commission check or for developing the property, but for knowing that he's put somebody into a property where they're going to live out the rest of their life in the place they want to be. Oh, got it. He got it. I saw him come out from behind the tree and eat it. That is so cool in super clear water with a good pair of polarized glasses, and you can just see the fish come out from behind the branch and eat it. What happened was my bullet weight got caught further up the line and the Lizard was just sitting there undulating, and it come out and eat it.
Chad gave me one of these rods, this Pro Graphite APR rod, and it was really cool. I just ran into a log. I'm still getting used to this kayak fishing thing, and the rod bent 5 ways on the end of its tip. I think the video recorded it. I've fished with rods my entire life and broken numerous amounts, but it was pretty cool to see that, and the rod is still intact. I guess a question that I have, and maybe it's a silly question, but the question that I have, you really feel like there's value in using a higher end depth finder? You're going to catch more fish and find them suspended in different waters?
Just this year alone, there's been 3 or 4 really big fish, including the one we caught at Long Lake that was in 22 foot of water. That had I not had not just a depth finder, but a quality depth finder, and been able to find that bottom distinction where it went from kind of mud in the channel edge to something hard. I was like, well, that's either a hump, a sand ridge, or something. And after I drifted back over it a couple times, I figured out it was obviously had to be some kind of log pile or log jam because it had a jagged edge on it. But finding that a little bit of detail that I wouldn't have been able to discern from a more affordable unit or a cheaper unit, it has been the key to me for 3 or 4 big fish that I've caught this year. In fact, we picked up a monster in Alabama earlier in October, and I only caught that fish because I was drifting through a pocket and I saw the tree limb come up in a fork, and I could see an arc just to the left of the fork, which is indicative of a fish.
Right.
And I threw a worm in there to it, and it ate it. And so it puts fish in the boat that I would never put in the boat with other. There's a lot of people that ask me about the cost of it.
Right.
Man, that thing's expensive. And I ask them, okay, let's just take a year and break it down. If you go fishing 40 or 50 times, if right now I asked you, would you give me $5 for a big fish?
All day long.
All day long.
Mm-hmm.
So if over the course of the year you pick up big fish after big fish after big fish, or fish after fish after fish, because you had something that keyed you into the fact that the fish were there, it pays for itself. I guarantee there's fish I'm gonna put in the boat today because I have that advantage, because I have that really high-end electronics. So it's worth its weight in gold. It pays for itself for me, both professionally and as an enthusiast. So that fish is right at 12 inches, but if you look at that coloration, look how thick his back is, look how broad his head is, and that trunk of the tail is both thick and wide. Those are the fish you want to put back. Even the ones that are right at that edge, I mean, those are healthy genes. That's a solid fish, good color. I mean, just the kind of fish you want to keep. That one's 12 3/4, right at 13 inches, and he'll make.
I was over here to the left of us, got hung up, just retrieving my line, just kind of cast. She's right at 8 on the dot. Cast just to the right and was paddling back out. I felt something kind of take it, so I set the hook, and it felt like I set the hook on a rock. Then she took me for a little sleigh ride. If you want to catch a hog, go to Long Branch Lakes. This place has got to be full of these things.
Kayak Bassin is brought to you in part by Lowrance. Introducing the new HDS Gen 2 Touch. Find, navigate, dominate. Welcome back to Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin. This week, Chad's hunt for trophy bass has taken him to the private lakes of the Long Branch Lakes community in Spencer, Tennessee.
All right, so this is our second time back at Long Branch. And the reason that we're back here is A, it's close to home for me, and B, it's one of the best fisheries we've ever been to. Oh, dude, 9.15. Oh, grab him. It is a touch off of 10 pounds. It's an ounce. Grab that thing and let's get a few picks and then get it back in the water. Congrats, brother. Is that your biggest fish?
That's the biggest fish.
Long Branch Lakes, personal best, falling every time people come here.
Long Branch Lakes is a 5,000 acre gated community here atop the Cumberland Plateau in Spencer, Tennessee. We're about an hour and a half from Knoxville and Nashville, Tennessee, and about 2 hours north of Chattanooga, an hour and 30 minutes. The concept at Long Branch Lakes is really to get outdoors. There's always Florida to retire and die, and that's not what we're selling or trying to promote. We're trying to promote the outdoors and the quiet side of living. We have 2 Bill Dance signature lakes on the property, and we have we believe a world-class equestrian center. We have honeybees at Long Branch Lakes. We make our own jellies off some berries that are growing on the properties. We try to use what God gave us and not muck it up.
Man, these fish are not big, but they are fun to pull out of those treetops. So we're in like a little bowl here. This is probably an old strip pit. I'm sitting in 20 foot of water, 3 or 4 feet off the bank. And out there in the middle is about 40 feet. And just a really cool little deal here. We had to paddle through some trees to get here that is, it would be impassable by a boat. We had to lay the rods down and kind of in places it was too narrow to even paddle through. So we just kind of hand over hand our way back here, pull up, and it opens up into this little bowl. And we've probably caught half a dozen fish out of this little spot. Just a cool little spot. It's just another one of those deals where it's a place you can get into with a kayak that you couldn't get into any other way. Oh, shoot.
This piece of water was part of an old series of coal mines in the 1950s. And I guess the concept I learned as a child is coal mine fishing's not that good if you have flooded water. And we can dispel that myth right here, hopefully today, where Chad or somebody lands a nice bass. But we've caught oodles and oodles of big fish in waters just like this.
I caught a 7-8 pounder in Ohio in a strip pit where these guys told me the biggest fish in there were 2 or 3 pounds. So,
you know, the guys that are giving those myths and wives' tales, they're fishing from the bank and access is poor, so they stand at one spot and it's fished out.
Absolutely.
And what the wilderness system does is it gives you the ability to get on the water, you know, and if I could have a really nice rod and reel or a good boat and a decent rod and reel, I'd prefer the latter. I'd prefer.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm glad you said what you said, because it's intuitive that people think, you know, yeah, it's an affordable way to fish, but I can afford a boat. The thing about it is, it's not just an affordable way to fish, it's a lethal way to fish, no matter how much money you've got.
Absolutely.
So if you can afford a $100,000 boat, I still think you should be in a kayak, because a kayak is just a more effective, stealthier, quieter, you know, and you know what? Let's get away from all the parts about catching more fish.
Right.
When you do catch the fish, it's more fun.
Right, it's more intimate altogether.
Kayak Bassin is brought to you in part by All Pro Rods. Feel what you've been missing. Visit allprorods.com to find a dealer near you. Welcome back to Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin. This week, Chad's at Long Branch Lakes in Spencer, Tennessee, a 5,000-acre gated outdoors focused community that has built a number of trophy bass lakes as part of their development plan. Thanks to their committed effort, Long Branch Lakes is now home to some of the finest trophy bass managed lakes in the Southeast.
So it's awesome to talk about how these lakes are built and the combination of underwater structure and cover, but it's even better to get a sneak peek behind the scenes. So the folks at Long Branch Lakes allowed me to come over here. Now, we had a really bad rainstorm come in last night, so the water, the bank is super muddy, so we can't make it down and actually walk, and they had a lot of fill from the rain, so we can't get in and walk the log jams. But if you look just over my shoulder, you'll see that there is a lot of work with pulled up stumps, with boulders, with rocks, and positioning, not just building the structural shape of the lake correctly, but positioning cover on the structure and providing deep water winter havens for the bass to build the perfect environment. So we just wanted to take a quick second to let you take a look of, as if we were to wipe the water away and let you see what's going on below the surface in one of the lakes that they're currently developing for the folks here at Long Branch Lakes. Boy, it is on fire right now. We're gonna eat good tomorrow.
Changed colors, threw right there on that point in that wood, and caught one little dink, and then threw back in there, and it was game on. Caught this giant. It was awesome.
He's like, ow! What got me? He freaked out a little bit when he got hooked. Of course I would too. You would too. If he was chomping on a big cheeseburger and got jerked out through the ceiling. I'll tell you what, the fishing here is ridiculous. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't caught my my big fish yet today, but saw a shooting star right before we came up here. And the one thing that I asked for was that both of the guys that work at Hook One, Ryan and Sean, were able to get big fish. And the only reason Ryan didn't catch his biggest fish of his life on this trip was because he caught the biggest fish of his life on the trip up here last time, and Sean was able to catch the biggest fish of his life on this trip. So that's a pretty cool experience to share with the guys that you spend 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day with. And you know, that's one of the unique things about Hook One, is that we're able to offer expert advice. We're able to talk the talk and kind of, you know, understand what the angler's asking for when they call, because we do this. You know, I'm very fortunate to have guys that are willing to share this dream with me and come and work at Hook One and, you know, interact with anglers and paddlers on a daily basis, and, you know, just do this thing because we fish. You know, that really is the difference. We all fish. So what do you think, buddy? You got that boga grip?
I think it's somewhere. Look right here.
So get that on her lip. Let's find out what she weighs and get her back in the water. So we hear him yell, and I look back over my shoulder and I see a kayak going through the woods with a little kid sitting on top of it. And he's yelling and booyahing and heck yeah. Is that your personal best? Well, hey guys, thanks for joining us this week. I got to thank Jeremy McDowell and the folks over here at Long Branch Lakes for what will now be a fish of a lifetime for me. You know what? I've caught a lot of big fish, but there ain't nothing like being there for the first hog that my son catches. He's caught a lot of 7s, caught a lot of 6s, a lot of 6.5s, but that holy grail of passing that 8-pound mark has eluded him. It's been a rough summer, ain't it, buddy? Been catching some big fish, getting them to the surface and losing them, having the hook throw. How does it feel to catch that big fish finally after all that hard work? Cool. Did you go for a little sleigh ride? All right, we got a little bit of daylight left. I love you, buddy. And I tell you what, I'll never forget this day. You can come up here and do the same thing. Check these guys out at Long Branch Lakes at Fall Creek Falls. And we'll see you next week. You know what? Whether you're new to kayak fishing or you're looking to give kayak fishing a try, visit Hook One at kayakfishinggear.com for the latest in kayak fishing accessories, kayaks. And you know what? If you don't see something that you like, give us a call and we'll make sure we add it. Wow, nice fish.